Hey there everybody, this is Unit 3, Video 4. We're going to learn the basics of bearings. Bearing is measured from due north in a clockwise direction. Bearing is used in many applications regarding navigation, and this would include ships navigation, planes, and other aircraft, as well as military navigation. So it gives this direction, and it always comes from due north in a clockwise direction for our first method, and then I'll show you our second method. So we're going to start here with a north-south line. And I'm starting up here. So this is going to be different than rotating around our unit circle. We are always coming from north. And so if I were to just pick a spot for us to start, and then draw an angle off of that north-south line of 32 degrees. So here would be approximately 32 degrees. Then this is our bearing of 32 degrees. The direction we would be headed 30 degrees from north. All right, 164 degrees. So again, we start with our north-south line, we pick a point, and we say, well, I'm going to be traveling 164. So I go past 90, and I say, well, this is my 164 degrees from the north. And so this is the direction we would be traveling. And this is 164 degree bearing. 229 degrees. Again, we draw a north-south line, we pick a point in which we're traveling from, and then we rotate around the circle from north, past 90, past 180, and into this area where we are 229 degrees. So this would be the direction of travel if we were to travel 229 degree bearing. 304 degree bearing. Again, we start with a north-south line. We pick a point in which we're going to be traveling from. We move past 90 degrees, past 180 degrees, past 270 degrees, and all the way on a bearing of 304 degrees. So this would be our 304 degree bearing. The direction we would be traveling, the path we would walk, fly, or sail would be following this arrow. Well, there is another method, so let's go ahead and take a look at that one. The second method is to provide two directions. This method starts with a north-south line, very similar, but opens east or west, depending on what the directions say. So once again, we'll start with our north-south line, and we'll put our point on that north-south line. And this one says start from the north and head east. So this would still look like, this would look very similar to our other 32 degree angle. So this is north 32 east, and that's how it would be pronounced, north 32 east. Well, let's go south 25 east. Start with our north-south line, but this time we're coming from the south and we're headed to the east. So it looks like this, and this would be south 25 east. Next one is going to be 47 west. So we're going to start with our north-south line, put our point there, and we say, well, we want to go from the north, but we're headed towards the west. So this would be our north 47 degree west bearing. South 15 west. Start again with a north-south line, and we're headed from the south, but we're headed west this time. So this could be our south 15 degrees west. Lastly, we're going to do a combination of bearings. So we're going to start with a 35 degree bearing, and then we're going to head on a 150 degree bearing. So in a word problem, they might say, someone travels at a bearing of 35 degrees for so many miles. Then they turn on a bearing of 150, and they travel for so many more miles. So this would be the idea of following a combination of bearings. So we're going to start here with the north-south line. We're going to head on our 35 degree bearing for so many miles, and then we get to the point where we have to turn. And now our bearing is 150, but our bearing still comes from a north-south line. So I'm going to draw another north-south line, not necessarily part of our picture, but what we want to look at is that we are turning from this new bearing from north 150 degrees. So this would be our new path. So I'm going to go here and highlight what we actually were traveling. So we traveled here, we got to a point, and then we turned. Another question to follow this might be, how far are we from the beginning? So then we would be able to connect those and look for a value. And that's what's to come. Let's try the next one. The next one says we're heading on a bearing of south 25 east, and then we're going to go north 40 west. So let's go ahead and start. We're heading from the south, but we're going 25 east, so this is our first bearing. And then when we get to a certain point, we have to turn and we're going to go north 40 west. So I'm going to draw a new north-south line through that point, and we're headed 40 west. And so this could be my new bearing. So this is a combination of bearings, and it puts them together. So again, I'm going to go ahead and highlight here what you would be traveling. So here's our 25 and then our 40. So that would be the new bearing. All right, great job.